before, but by far the most time-consuming part of the job in the printing press was actually the physical setting of type. So these are individual letters, and they normally live in those cases where my colleague is currently. And you arrange each one to form your name, sentences, paragraphs. And you may notice it's also cast backwards and upside down.
Yeah, that's right.
So hopefully it'll print right side up when it's time. Now, this is very large type, but if you notice, as you look at this newspaper, we are, for the most part,
working with really
working
little.
with smaller type. Exactly, yeah. I think it's even smaller if you look at the advertisements. They're on the back, yeah, much smaller. You
can see why you need bifocals.
Right. But actually, most people who worked in the print shop started learning the skills at a very early age. In fact, Ben Franklin was only 12 when he started working as an apprentice to his older brother. And as an apprentice, he would do all of that hard work, like clean the ink off of the letters, and very carefully put each letter back in its individual case. So through time and practice, you begin to memorize where each letter was kept. Once you memorize the location, you're no longer looking for the letter, you're just simply reaching for the letter. So it's much more beneficial once you memorize the type case, how they're set up in the shop. It's like people do type without looking at the keyboard.
Right,
So
I do, yeah.
process, yeah. So we're going to use this press by the window, and we have several items which are please. Now, my colleagues and I, our job is to talk and tell the story. But we were doing this for a living in colonial times. You had to move a lot more quickly.
Right.
So the work was divided. So one person's job was to apply the ink by using these leather beaters. They kind of resemble box singers, or 15 beaters. And you may notice there's ink on the surface there. But more importantly, that's the sound that tells you you're now ready to start inking the press. This is going to take a few seconds. And you spread this around. Oh, and by the way, if you want to print, you have to just repeat it like. So each time you print, the ink the letters each and every time you print. How you doing, folks?
Good, how are you?
Real well, thank you. Welcome. We're just applying the ink to the lead type right now. Now, one person is applying the ink, the other member of the team is getting sheets of paper ready and physically operating the press so that a team working together can print multiple sheets of paper, roughly 3 sheets a minute. Now, folks, if it's up to you if you want to do this, but we wanted to invite you, if you wish, to just fill the edge of this paper. Now, I'll tell you one thing, this is not made from wood pulp.
Did you get it? Oh no, come back.
Can we feel it? Yeah.
Oh, sure, absolutely. Sure, absolutely.
You're a little far.
Okay. Any guess what material this is that we're printing on?
I know, so I'm not going to say.
Right? Anybody? What if I said that you're perhaps wearing this today?
Is it cloth?
It's cloth, yeah, cotton cloth, yeah. So in the past, they didn't have the ability to make paper from wood pulp. So paper was made by recycling your linen, your old undergarments and socks, cloth paper. Linen was kind of expensive, so we were using more affordable cotton. They would use linen-based paper in colonial times. Yeah. Now, you may be aware of this already, but this paper that I'm using, we still use something today that is still printed off of this type of paper. You might find it in your wallet or your purse.
Oh, money.
Our dollar bills are also printed off of the same type of paper. That's why you can run it through a washing machine and not have it fall apart or disintegrate. It's that cotton cloth paper. So now we're going to mix the letters and the the ink and the paper all together. I'm going to pull this twice because we're printing several different items.
And you said they would do all of that and get 3 sheets a minute.
Yeah. Imagine that? Yes. So I just printed one of my favorite quotes from Thomas Jefferson, where he writes to his colleague John Adams that I cannot live without books. And just below that, we have a cartoon that Franklin designed, Jonah died, urging the colonies to unite, initially against France, and then later during the War of Independence, the same cartoon. And then after they adopted the Declaration, on July the 8th was a public reading, and John Adams, who was in Philadelphia at the time, described how the bells rang all day and all night to commemorate the first public reading of the Declaration. So there's one more step. You may notice that this is wet to the touch, so we're going to hang this up on the racks and allow the time for this to dry. Because by wetting the paper, you're opening the pores so that when you print, ink is going into the paper, so it's not going to run off or bleed. So it's like dyeing cloth, essentially. It's not like today you read the newspaper, your fingers are black from the ink that's on the top there. So we'll hang this up. So, folks, you can pick these up and look at it.
Yeah, well,
That's fine. Yeah, the 2 is darker than the 2. I think there's just one number that is just being a little bit of a challenge. Yeah, for everybody.
But folks, just to give you an idea of what is typically printed in the printing office, we have a copy of a newspaper that Ed Franklin actually printed. It's called the Gazette. This came out once a week, very popular paper, circulated throughout the colonies, weekly paper. But once a year, he printed his world famous Poor Richard's Almanac. Can't say enough about the popularity of this publication. Yeah, it had anything from weather forecast,